Good morning, guys. So back in the workshop. This is going to be the next part. What are we up to now? 17 or something. I think I'm going to just stop calling them parts and just say the next episode or something because that's a long ways from being done. Of course, in the last video, I got the mezzanine built. Just some updates. The OSB is actually glued and nailed down now. So all of that is complete. This little part over here is also complete now. So that's all, glued and nailed down with the OSB. Just getting ready, I guess, to start doing the stairs. So I think that'll be what this episode is going to be, is I'm going to be working on the stairs to go up. What that's going to entail is getting in the landing here, which is going to be basically like a 3 foot by 3 foot landing. Getting stringers cut for the stairs that are going to be going up, and then stringers cut for the stairs that will be coming, down this way. I think that's going to be this episode. Some of the other things that I've done, which you can see in the background, probably stands out a little bit better. I did end up getting the second coat of paint. Well, this wall here, I don't think that I had painted before, so that wall's painted now, has both coats of paint. Over here, which is going to be the workbench area, which was going to be the next thing I was going to work on, has 2 coats of paint. I was going to start building the workbench and close out this section of the wall, but then I was thinking I need to wait because I still need to run electrical. So let me turn the camera around. Well, first, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe and let's get to work. Okay, so this here is going to be my workbench area. I was going to, like I said, start closing up this wall. As you can see on the floor over there, I got some rock wool insulation. I did put a couple pieces in over here because there's not going to be any electrical stuff over here. So I think what I decided is that I'm going to put the electrical box, I think in this bay here, and then I'm going to have electrical that's going to be running all the way around. So I will end up having 1 or 2 outlets here. I'm going to have electrical going up for the lighting, with the switch. The CNC room, I'm going to end up having multiple outlets in there. A couple standard 110 outlets, and then I'm going to have I believe it's a 220 or 208 outlet, which will be for the CNC that someday hopefully I get. Coming across here, there's going to be the stairs, so there won't really be any outlets there. This area over here is going to end up being the grinding room, so there will end up being probably 2 outlets in there. Coming down this way, there will be it's either 208 or 220 outlet for the I think for the press, which I know you guys have probably seen in my videos, these things sitting in the doorway. That is my power hammer and press, which I have moved into the shop now. I know it's been in the background in the last couple videos. I will actually do a video where I uncrate this and get everything set up. That's going to end up just being its own video. So I'm going to have power for that stuff, which will be on this wall as well. The power hammer, I believe, is just straight pneumatic. I don't think there's any electrical on there, but I'll have to double check. The press, which is the bottom, this one here, I think is 208, 220, something like that. I'll have to double check that. So anyway, I'm going to need to start running some electrical, so I can't really start closing up walls yet. As well as over here, if I do end up having the box here, I'm going to end up running some electrical this way because I want to have a couple outlets on this wall over here, including a switch panel, and then I'm also going to have, lighting. So all that stuff's going to kind of need to be run before I start closing up walls. And then, yeah, of course, upstairs, the office is going to have, you know, some outlets and lighting up there as well. So, yeah, I guess this is going to be just working on the stairs. A lot of talking. See a line there, so that's roughly the 37-inch mark, which is kind of what I've been doing, everything at 37, even though it's going to be a 36-inch stairwell. I figure there's going to be a 1/2 inch on either side for drywall or plywood or whatever I end up doing. So I guess I'll get to work. All right, so you see my mock-up stair tread here. This was basically for me to just get my spacing down. It is not in the exact position where it's going to be. What is going to end up happening is this bottom tread will end up being 7 inches tall, which is what these rises are. So basically match that. There's going to be a support piece going across here from this wall to this wall. Basically I'm going to do two 2x6s, kind of like a header almost. There will be a 2x4 here and a 2x4 added here for support, and then the stair treads will sit on top of that. Again, this will be increased to 7 inches, which right now it's right about 5.5, I think. So that will raise this entire thing up. So this will end up coming up a couple inches to almost to this spot. But once the step is actually put on, then it'll be, you won't see any space in there. So I'm going to pull this off the wall and start marking up my pieces. And I'm basically going to be using the 2x12s that I had for my forms from when I started, when I first was pouring the pad or doing the pad. So I have 2x12s out here, and then I have some other pieces over here too. So that's what's going to get used to make my stair stringers. All right, here's my progress. So see, that's nice and level. So as you can see, there's blue paint on there, so I reused some of the 2x6s from the original front porch. I thought that I had 2x4s, but I don't, so I ended up using the 2x6s here for the supports as well. Let me walk around here. So this one is basically nailed in flush on this side. That side's not going to get seen anyway because it's going to be underneath the stairs. This one here, I still need to take some tap cons and anchor this into the wall fully. But this is in. I'm going to put a couple joists in here, and then I'll get a piece of OSB on this, and the landing will be done. This is of course temporary as well. So there will be a wall right there. Let me walk around again. So like I said, the line on the floor there will be a wall here, and that's going to be the wall for the grinding room. So temporarily, that 2x6 is in there. And then once the wall is in, this will get attached to the wall properly, you know, to all the vertical beams. So that is pretty much the landing so far. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one anchored on the wall. I'm going to get some joists in here and get a piece of OSB cut. Once that's done, then I can start working on my stringers from the landing up to the mezzanine. All right, joists are all in, fully locked in with the hangers and everything. Tap cons are mounted to the wall there. Got my piece of OSB cut. So I will get adhesive. I should have gotten one more tube. I wasn't really thinking about the landing when I was doing the adhesive up on the mezzanine. So that's not going to get nailed down right now. I'll have to get the adhesive. I don't know if I'll go today or tomorrow, run into town and get it. Now that this is up though, I can start working on the stringers going from the landing up to the mezzanine. All right, so I decided to work on this set first. I don't know, it just made sense, I guess, because that way I can just do the steps going up. So I've never made steps before. Matter of fact, I still need to make a set of steps for the deck. But I mean, the idea of it's pretty simple. So this piece looks like everything is good. Of course, it's still a little long right there where it's clamped. So I'm going to need to basically cut 3 more of these, or sorry, 2 more, because there will be one on either side, one in the middle. I could maybe get away with just doing 2, you know, have them kind of spaced evenly, but I think 3 will be fine. I'll end up spacing this one off of the wall about pretty much where it is right now, basically the thickness of a 2x4. So down here along the wall, I'll put a 2x4 in between, and then probably somewhere, you know, maybe I may end up just running a 2x4 actually along with it on the spine, and then nail everything in that way. And then the same thing will happen on this side, stringer, 2x4, wall, and then there will be a center stringer. So coming along pretty good. All right, so this one is done. I showed that one already, and now I have the first stringer for up here done. It is pretty much like that. One little detail that I did is I cut in right here, so I can put a screw in this way as well, just to help lock it in. And then this is going to have a 2x4 on the outside following this edge all the way up that will be mounted into the beams, and then the tread will be mounted into that. For that side, this side on here will have a 2x4 on it as well. It'll just be for strength, and then basically it's going to come up and it'll tie in up here. What I'm going to end up having to do is to add another 2x6 with basically a backing to hold this up, unless I can find some kind of a strong tie fixture or something like that that will work for this. Maybe just a straight band that I'll screw into the back of this and then screw into the stringer once I cut it flush. That would work as well. So I'll have to figure that out, but basically I have my templates, so I'm going to go ahead and get the other ones cut, and then I'm going to need to do a run to Home Depot, which will probably be in the morning. So I'm going to go ahead and get the 2x4s that I need, and I'm going to build this wall. For right now, I'm just going to do 8 foot high, and then it will get an addition onto it once I get the roof figured out, I guess. So I know where the roof comes down, then this wall will extend all the way up to the roof. So yeah, making some progress. Okay, I think I'm just about wrapped up for tonight. I got these 3 stringers cut. They're of course not in place. They're just kind of leaning against there. So what's going to end up happening is I'm going to use some of my banding and actually attach here with the structural screws from the back. It's going to come down the back of the stair tread and then bend around and then come into the stair tread here. So that should be plenty of support for these. And then I'm going to end up doing that on this other side too. So I have 2 of these cut so far. My last piece of 2x12 wasn't long enough, so I think I'm going to end up using one of my roof truss, because I need to get the stair tread and I don't want to go just buy another one. I mean, maybe I will, I don't know. But even if I do take 6 feet off of this or whatever, I'm still going to be able to, I think it's, yeah, maybe a little over 6 feet. I'm still going to be able to use it for the roof truss in this section here that are basically going to go from the office down to the front wall. So it'll still get used. But that's where I am now. I think it's like 5 something in the afternoon. So I'm going to call it a night and then be back at it in the morning. So I actually made a trip to Lowe's over Kona side. The 2x4s actually I got at Home Depot yesterday. Went to Lowe's today because they had the stair treads and the risers in stock, which Home Depot didn't. We also picked up railing kits that's going to be for the deck, so that's not part of this video. But look at that. My stairs are all done. Just kidding. I just set some of the pieces on there. They're not cut to size or anything attached, of course. So, but that's what my stairs will kind of look like. I am gonna stain the stairs, probably some dark stain, and then the risers will get painted white. And then my wife says she's gonna paint some design on the risers, so I don't know what's gonna happen with there. But yeah, so stair treads, risers, got another bag of insulation. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. See if I can start getting these stair stringers tied in, and then start getting the treads and risers cut and attached. All right, so I threw this wall up real quick. Just has 1 sheet of plywood on there so far. I will, of course, get the other sheet of plywood on there before I start working on the stairs. But it's getting late. It's almost 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call it for tonight. Pick up in the morning. All right, so I started working on this upper section. Now that I got the floor glued down on the landing, this is pretty much all locked in. You can see I have it towed in here. I have screws coming from the back side. I attached another 2x6 there on the back, so there's screws coming in from the back of there. I have reinforced 2x4s. Let me go around. So there are reinforced 2x4s on the 2 outer ones. 2x4 here. This one is actually locked into all the beams on the wall as well. These ones here are in temporarily. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to take strapping and I'm going to go up here with the structural screws, tie it in up there with probably 4 or 5 screws. It's going to come down, bend around this, and then tie into here with about 4 or 5 screws. So I figure that should be plenty strong enough to hold this in place. but that's where I am right now. I'm going to go and cut the strapping to put onto these pieces, and then I could start actually cutting steps and risers and getting them on this section. All right, so that's what I'm talking about for the strapping. So you see it attached all the way up there, plenty of structural screws, and this is 16 gauge steel strapping. So this is the same thing that I used when I was doing the framing that went across the joist to square up the framing section that I was working on. So this should be really, really strong, especially one on each stringer. So let me get the other ones up. Okay, I have my stair treads cut here. I'm actually going to throw a coat of a stain on there real quick. Probably just do the one coat, possibly two, I don't know, we'll see how long it takes to dry. And then I have my risers cut and they're ready to install up here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually nail these on, and then I'm going to paint them, put a coat of paint on them, put a coat of paint on them while they're in place. And then I may get a second coat on there or not before I put the steps on, but we'll see. So it may be a little time before the next segment, but only a second for you guys. Okay, I have two coats of stain on here. I have two coats of white paint on the stairs, or on the risers up there. I'm starting to work on the lower set of stairs now. So I'm going to start with this one against the wall because it will actually be attached to the wall, you know, to the beams. The only thing different I'm doing on these set of stairs is on the bottom, I'm going to be putting some of the joist tape, like what I used under the decking up front, just so it's isolated from the concrete. But other than that, this is going to get put together exactly the same way as those. So I'm going to get started on that. All right, it's the next day. Continuing work. I have the corner on this wall here. I just cut that out for now because there will be a header there eventually once I build this wall. Let me go ultra wide. So that wall there, this is going to be the grinding room. So this will be the last wall that's going out, or the last interior wall for this floor, of course. This wall will continue all the way up. This wall is going to continue up to the ceiling. There will, of course, be a wall here wrapping around the mezzanine, and then a dividing wall, you know, for the office space. But this is where I am right now. Let me go back to regular mode. Let me show you the stairs. So not bad looking. They are not tacked down yet. I just have them sitting up there because I'm going to wait until I have the bottom set done as well, so that I could do adhesive on these. I don't want to waste half a tube of adhesive just doing these 5 steps and then, you know, have to use another one for those down there. So they're just sitting here for now, and they'll get tacked down later when these ones are ready. Okay, I have both sides are fully locked in now, and you can see I have the joist tape on the bottom there. That's basically just to isolate it from the concrete slab. Shouldn't really be an issue, but I just wanted to put something on there, you know, so that it doesn't, you know, rot or, I guess, draw moisture from the slab or vice versa. This middle one is just sitting in there. It's not anchored in at all. I added in the 6x6 or 2x6 on the back there, so that's fully locked in now as well. I'm going to put the strapping on the back of this one, just like I did on the upper stairs. On these ones, I'm not going to bother because it's, you know, locked in on all of these, you know, all of the beams on these 2 walls all the way down. So it should be plenty solid. So I'm going to get the band cut for the center one, and get this measured and marked up, and then get it mounted. Then I can start cutting the risers and the steps for this section. Okay, it's getting late, so this is where I'm going to leave it now. So that center stringer is fully locked in. I put in this 2x4 here just so that the spacing stays the same. So in the morning, I'll start cutting my risers and I'll get those installed and then start cutting the steps. Once the risers are installed, I'll paint them just like I did with the uppers. The treads, I will go over there and start getting them stained, and then we will be ready to put them on. And you may have noticed there's no more pole here. So there was a pole holding it up, and I just put a 2x6 holding up that to support, you know, this junction, because that pole is pretty much right in the middle of the walkway. So I'll pick up in the morning. It's like 5:30 already. I'm getting hungry, so it's time to go eat dinner. So see you in the morning. Whew. Okay, so it's the next day. I've already gotten started. As you can see, I have my stair treads cut. I have the risers cut right there. I do need to still rip the risers so that I got to take like a 1/4 inch off of them, because the risers come, I think, 7 1/4 or 7 1/8. And I want to go right to 7, which is what all my risers are. So one thing that I noticed already is that the top step, basically going from the top stair tread to the landing, is going to be it's a little bit higher, probably 3/4 of an inch higher than the rest of the steps. I don't think it'll be a problem, but like normally you want all the steps to be the same going all the way up, just because people are used to, you know, walking upstairs. They, you know, automatically go the same distance on each step. So I don't think it's a big enough difference, I guess, to be an issue. And since it's a landing, it's a little bit different. I think actually at the very top, it may be like a little bit higher as well, but a smaller gap. Especially once I put, you know, flooring or something up there, I'll probably do like a laminate floor. That'll raise it up another, you know, 1/4 inch to 3/8. So I guess if you are a stair builder, those are things that you take into consideration when you're, you know, making your stringers. This is my first set of steps that I built, so but I would rather do my mistakes here so that when I actually do the one on the deck, it's a little bit nicer, because this is a workshop. I don't think everything has to be perfect, you know. I'm trying to do it as best as I can, of course. Anyway, let me get to work, start getting these ripped down and then nailed on and painting and all that. Okay, progress update. So all the risers are on, painted. Since I was putting adhesive on these, I did end up putting adhesive on the tops up here. So the upper stair treads are completely secured down now. I would walk up there, but this is still wet. And pro tip, when you're reaching for an open can of stain, make sure you actually have a hold of it. So, yeah, first stain on the shop floor. One of many, I'm sure. That's okay. Some point down the road, I'm probably going to be putting some kind of an epoxy flooring on this anyway. So, yeah. So letting this stuff dry. I don't know if I'll get these put on today or not. I may let it dry overnight. Also, another little detail that I did is I basically just filled this in with 2x4s so that there's not an opening there. I know the stain and paint looks kind of rough. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I may end up just staining or painting the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe just paint the top. Once it dries, I'll figure it out. So anyway, that's where I am right now. Once this stuff dries, I'll start getting these next set of treads down. And that is done. So I'm not going to walk on it because it's actually still slightly wet, the stain. Like I touched it and I'd get stain on my hand still. So, but the steps are done. Everything is totally glued in, secured all the way up. The only thing really that I have left to do is I got to make a wall here, which will basically just close that out, and then there will be a piece of paneling, on the other side so that it matches this stuff. And then of course I need to put 2 or 3 coats of varnish on the treads. So once this fully dries, like tomorrow or the next day or something like that, I'll start doing the varnish. But yeah, that's done. It's been a long video. So basically that's going to wrap up this video, finishing the stairs to the mezzanine. I think my focus on the next 2 to 3 videos is going to be starting to get electrical run. Basically just get my little outlet boxes mounted around the shop where I want them, want to have electricity, and then start actually getting some wires run through the walls so that I can start actually closing stuff up. Another thing that I'm going to be doing, I cleaned up the shop, by the way. Did you guys notice? I got those big 24 footers off the ground. So it's actually up there on the mezzanine now. Cleaned up all the other stuff. I even hung up some tools. All of that's temporary, of course, but I think beyond the electrical, the next thing I'm going to focus on is actually getting this room finished, painting all the walls, get a door on this, something that I can lock up so that I can actually start moving some tools in here and be able to lock them up and not really have to worry about them. I realize that there's, just house wrap on the outside, but it's all money. To start getting the siding and all that stuff going in. Yeah, I'm not super concerned about it. We haven't had any problems here with anything, being stolen or anybody making it onto our property. But anyway, it'll just be a little bit more peace of mind that there will actually be a locked door. It's not like you can carry, my chop saw out through the beams. Not to mention on the outside, that's like a 5-foot drop down to the ground. So, yeah. Anyway, now I'm just rambling. So those are going to be the next things that I'm going to be focusing on. Going to be a electrical. And I don't know how detailed that video will be if I end up doing a video on the full electrical. And then closing out that room. And then I think beyond that, I'll probably start actually building the office up in the mezzanine area, which means I'll have to take this tarp off and figure out something else for the roof. Yeah, it's going to start getting to the point where I'm going to have to get a roof on before I can do much more. The only reason I'm going to be putting stuff in this room is because the mezzanine is over it. So if I do have some kind of a water leak or this tarp fails, the stuff that's in there will be somewhat protected from the mezzanine floor. So, yeah, that's it. The roof is going to be a while still. I mean, that's going to be $4,000 to $5,000 to get everything for the roof. So, yeah, that's going to take a little while. But anyway, I need to end this video. It's way too long. As always, thank you for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe and give me a like, and I will see you guys on the next video. Aloha.